At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this week we're going down under.
Ooh, are we going to see some wallabies?
Wallabies, roos, maybe a koala or two, maybe some bullfrogs. Well,
but
I don't know
what we're going to... Bullfrogs?
Bullfrogs.
But you know what we might need if we're going to Australia? We might need a tour guide.
Yes. I've never been to Australia before. I've always wanted to go. Yeah. But, the 28-hour flight probably wouldn't be the best. Probably need to be first class, sleeping on a lounge somewhere so I can, relax a little bit. But, yeah. Long flights aren't necessarily my favorite. But, yes, having a tour guide to be in Australia is probably a really good idea. So we'd like to welcome to the Simpsons Did It podcast, Aussie Popin Paul himself, Paul Stevens. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Well, g'day guys. The traditional Australian welcome and hello. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, it's early for you, late for us.
Yeah, almost lunchtime here, and I think what's about 8:30, 8:45 over there.
Yeah. It'll soon be tomorrow where you're already there.
Yeah, I know the lotto numbers, so I'll help you guys out.
Yes, perfect. Okay. All right, so first question we like to ask brand new guests on the show is, so you seem to be probably around our age, maybe older. I'm 39. My brother's 35. So I'm guessing you've been around the block a bit. When did you first find The Simpsons? Was it kind of later after The Simpsons started? Was it right away at the beginning? What got you started on The Simpsons, and why do you like it?
Well, I'm a little bit older than you gentlemen. I'm about 47. So it first aired here in Australia, I think, in about 91. So we're a couple of years behind you guys, I think.
Okay. Yep.
And I was, teenager type thing. So it was a bit of fun to watch and a bit cheeky and something a bit different. So, watched it and got into it then, and then got out of it, met my partner, and she loved The Simpsons as well, so we used to buy all the DVDs and all the box sets and all that sort of stuff. So, Simpsons has been part of my life for 30 whatever years now, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. I know we have... I mean, it's kind of a small number-ish, but about 4% of our fan base for this podcast comes out of Australia. And so I think it's kind of funny that I know Australia, the UK, a couple other European countries just found The Simpsons and absolutely love it. But I feel like Australia has a huge connection to the Simpsons, maybe because of this episode, not quite sure. But did you catch this episode that we're about to record when it first aired, or did you watch it later on?
I think ours was later on when we got it, but I do remember watching it. I actually, when we first spoke, I sort of went, I actually remember that. I didn't need to watch it again or anything. I remember the episode, and then I watched it again and went, okay.
No, that's awesome. I love when this is the first episode where The Simpsons left the United States. The very, very first time. So it's kind of first that their first stop was Australia. I don't know if there was something in the 90s going on that that they were like, oh, we got to get the Aussies involved in The Simpsons. But
well, like in the episode, it shows that America was all gung ho about Australia and loved Crocodile Dundee and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
all right, well, let's kick it off. Let's start this show,
all
Robert.
Right. All right, so this is Season 6, Episode 16, Bart versus Australia. The air date for this is February 19th, 1995. So we're getting closer. I think we got about 6 episodes left in season 6, maybe 7.
Yeah, we're almost wrapping up with season 6. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Indeed. Recap of this episode. Bart visits Australia to apologize for a $900 collect call and moons the Prime Minister instead.
Yeah. So Paul, did you ever receive collect calls from the United States in the 90s at all, or make a collect call to the U.S.?
No, I did not.
No, I'm guessing most.
I can imagine that's expensive.
Dad would have given me the boot.
Yeah, I remember just making collect calls in the U.S. to other U.S. cities and it being pricey.
Expensive.
I just can't imagine calling. And now it's free. We literally hopped on Clean Feed for free. We could call across the whole world.
Yeah.
It's like collect calls and calling cards are dead now.
Well, it's interesting because in the 90s, having landlines and you don't hear anymore, oh yeah, call me after 7 when it's cheaper or free. Like, because I remember that, or even having the internet and being like, hey, you need to get off the internet so I can make a phone call.
Yep.
Like, so, $900. I feel like that's actually kind of cheap. Considering in the episode we'll get to it, it seems like the phone call went on for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe it should have been more. I like to point out in this episode, we kind of got like half of the intro because you got the chalkboard gag. You had Homer at the plant. I think we had Lisa doing her sax solo, but we didn't have, we had Maggie and Marge at the grocery store, but we didn't have them driving home.
Yeah.
So they kind of chopped it up in a way to extend it a little bit because the episode was kind of long, but not long enough.
Yep.
And as we've talked in, earlier episodes, they either have a full intro or like chalkboard gag and then the Simpsons at the house.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. And as we talked last week about last week's chalkboard being weird, this one is even weirder. I will not hang donuts on my person. Are they making fun of cops? Because the whole stereotype cops like donuts, at least here in the U.S.
I don't
know. It's not just the U.S.
It's everywhere. Okay.
It's everywhere. I wasn't sure if that cop stereotype was just a U.S. thing or a whole world thing.
Yeah. So, Paul, what we try to do is figure out why Bart got in trouble and was writing on the chalkboard. And I don't know if he was making fun of cops outside the school, trying to coax them in, or I don't know, having kids eat donuts off of Bart as a prank. I don't know.
It's got me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
it's a weird one.
Bart's. I know Bart's a weird kid, man, but. I know. Maybe it was like seagulls. Like he was hanging out in the parking lot, donuts on them, seeing if seagulls come down and pick them off.
I feel like it's more making fun of cops.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he was taunting Chief Wiggum.
There you go.
That's not
with
hard.
The donuts. No. So our couch gag this week, another repeat. The living room floor is a shallow body of water. Simpsons swim their way to the couch. Bart has a scuba mask on, which he takes off, and Homer sticks his finger in his ear to get, water out of it. So, another repeat. It's back half of season 6.
Yeah, they're just going to keep repeating these ones for a minute. All right, so we start the episode. Bart and Lisa race shampoo and toothpaste in the sink. Never done that.
No.
Most sinks have a little clog drain, so you really can't. I don't know. It must have a horrible.
Well, so
sink.
the whole point was, I think they were like squeezing it on like the top.
Yeah.
And then like they I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And so
I'm trying to explain it and I can't.
Yeah. So we see Lisa wins, and Bart says he would have won if the water spun in the other way because Lisa had the inside track.
Which is, it's a true thing. Like if you watch a lot of racing, if you have the inside track, it's a little bit shorter.
Yep.
Instead of going outside, so you cut in and you take the lead.
Yep. Lisa was smart, man. She's a smart girl.
Yep.
So, Lisa explains that because of the Coriolis effect, water only spins counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere.
And I could have sworn I had... I did. I wrote it down a little bit later, so we'll get to that in a second.
So Bart's like, no way. Water doesn't obey your rules. It goes where it wants. Like me, babe.
Oh,
so,
Bart.
So, Paul, when you watch this, did you try it?
Look, I won't lie. I flushed the toilet 38 times to test it prior to this, and I can tell you it didn't work, and I was very, very disappointed.
You know, it's funny because I didn't do it 38 times, but I did pour water in my sink through the faucet, and it doesn't really spin. It just goes down the drain.
Yeah.
And I did do my toilet, and it kind of went clockwise. Maybe it's like, because again, this is a 95 episode, maybe older toilets had more of a spin on the flush.
Well, your toilets are actually different. Like yours... The toilet bowl fills up really, really high with water, where ours doesn't. Yep. It's quite low down. I've been to the States a few times, so I know this, and I've tested that principle to see which way the water goes down, just because of the Simpsons episode, actually.
So is it... I'm guessing it's low because you guys don't like wasting water as much as us in America.
Oh, because we're down under, and if we had it too full, it'd fall out.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. All right. But I'm guessing it's got to be a water conservation thing. That usually makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
Yep. Stupid Americans. Anyway, so Bart checks the sink to see which way, the water flows, and it goes counterclockwise. Then Bart tests the toilet, goes counterclockwise. And then Bart tries to make the water drain clockwise by spinning it with his hand.
Obviously, that's not going to work.
No.
Now, I will say, since he's already flushed the toilet like once, the water's probably clean-ish. So, I mean, sticking your hands...
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend sticking your hands in a toilet no matter how clean it is. But, it's probably clean water.
But look, with my 38 attempts, on attempt 32, I did try and do that and see if it helped.
As your daughter ran in trying to use the bathroom, Daddy, I gotta go.
What's your hand doing in the toilet?
And this is my favorite part of this whole interaction is you cut to Homer singing in the shower, and it's going from a hot to cold to hot to cold. And I remember those days growing up where some idiot would flush the toilet while I was taking a shower.
That was probably me.
Oh, my God. But
most of the time to be cruel, but,
Yeah.
My daughter does it to me. Like, I'm having a shower and she'll come in and brush her teeth. And she thinks it's hilarious to turn the tap on and off, on and off, on and off.
Yep.
It's not.
So you guys still have that? Because I believe most American households nowadays doesn't have that effect anymore.
Yeah, mine doesn't. I know that for a fact because I'll flush the toilet. My wife's in the shower and I don't hear screaming. So
yeah,
does here.
Interesting, right? Well, your technology is a few years behind us, right?
Oh, in some aspects.
Yeah. So you'll get the hot cold water heater thing soon enough. And then so Marge walks in on Bart in the bathroom and she thinks Bart clogged the toilet. So obviously that's happened a few times in the Simpson household.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Lisa tells Bart the water will only go the other way in the southern hemisphere. And Bart asks what the southern hemisphere is.
And so I did want to look up the Coriolis effect. So the basic thing of the effect is it's truer for things like hurricanes, tornadoes, and whirlpools in the ocean that they'll spin clockwise. Like smaller drains, it's not going to have any effect, as we've clearly discussed, where Paul and I have each tried to flush our toilet, and I tried to flush water down the sink. I even did it in my kitchen sink too, because I figure, it'll hit like the side and it'll spin, but like it just went in the drain.
Yep.
How dedicated are we? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. It's for science.
For science, yes.
It's for science.
We have to see if the Simpsons are accurate. Come on. We have to test every Simpsons theory out. And so we see that Bart has a unopened globe on his desk from Grandpa as a birthday present. Which, I mean, who really wants a globe for a present?
Well, I mean, if you like geography.
But I got Google Earth on my phone. I'm fine.
Well, now.
Yeah, now, yeah. See, our kids are never going to understand globes and VCRs.
Well, I feel like they're still going to be in the classrooms. At least globes are. But yeah, VCRs,
landlines.
Oh, just how to rewind a tape with a pencil. They just will never understand that.
I know.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you have to take the video back to the video store and it's got to be rewound or else you get fined, I mean, they're never going to get it.
I wonder if I want to fuck with my kid and at the end of a Netflix episode or something, or at the end of a Netflix movie, like, dude, you got to rewind that before we send it back to Netflix. See if I can get him on that.
Back to Blockbuster.
Well, there is a meme out there where it's like a younger woman helping like a super old lady, and she's like, back in my day, we used to have to send out for Netflix. She's like, okay, grandma, whatever. But it's true. It started on DVDs. Yep. And you had to mail out for them.
Yep. And so, so Lisa explains the Southern Hemisphere to Bart. Bart asks if Rand McNally is part of it.
That was hilarious.
Yes.
And that's just the name of the company that made the globe.
Yeah, but Lisa tells him, yes, that's that Rand McNally, where they wear hats on their feet and burgers eat people.
Brilliant.
Oh, Bart. Great. So Bart pulls out the phone book now and turns to the international dialing page. Yeah. I don't think I don't know if phone books ever had an international section.
I don't think so.
They used to have how to dial different countries. So you'd have like what numbers to press, 0, whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And as we'll learn right here, Bart pressed about 1,000 buttons.
I love that he's like looking at the book, pressing buttons, looking at the book, pressing buttons. Like, I think he probably hit like every button at least 3 times.
Yeah,
at least 3.
I know when I traveled to Israel, dialing back home, I know it's like country code and then dial out code and then it is a ton of numbers. I don't think it's as many as Bart hit, but yeah, it's a kind of a ton of numbers to dial to another country. I know you work for a company in the US, Paul. Do you don't dial a ton of numbers, right? It's all computer based, I'm assuming.
Yeah, all computer. Well, now it is. I've been dealing with them for 12 years, so 12 years ago it was a lot different. But now, it's just all online. You just press a button and, if I want to talk to my mate Homer, or Omar, I should say, not Homer, and I press a little button and he comes up and we have a chat. It's that simple.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So Bart's first call is to the South Pole Research Station, and I love how a penguin flies in the wind in a block of ice and hits the station and just kind of stands there what the hell just happened to me?
Oh, that was good.
And so Bart asks the researcher which way the water flows in their toilet, but it doesn't flow because they're in the South Pole and the water is frozen. And I love how the other researcher came in with like a naughty magazine.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
I feel like the South Pole would have heated toilets, maybe?
Yeah, probably. And so then Bart, I believe he calls Chile next. Chile. I'm not 100% sure because they don't actually give the name.
It's Chile, yeah.
And so Bart calls, and the translator is going to translate for the president, and he asks the translator to say which way your toilet flows, and the translation was screwed up, something oh, they're coming for you basically, and the president of Chile jumps out the window to flee. I don't know if there's something in the 90s with Chile and their president being a bad person.
Well, I think it's just zones in in what was it, South America where cartels or something weird. I bet that
Okay. So the next phone call Bart makes is to Adolf Hitler. He calls a car phone, oddly enough, and Adolf is not fast enough to get the call. And this segment involving Adolf Hitler refers to a conspiracy theory that he survived World War II and escaped to Argentina. And had Hitler indeed survived in, I think it was 45, if I remember correctly, so this was 50 years later, he would have been 105 years of age at the time this episode ended.
All very realistic, isn't it?
Yes, very real. Not that Hitler survived, that he lived to 105. I mean,
right. That was a good prank. And then Bart's last call is to
oh my god,
an unnamed settlement where I believe, because it's just you see a phone booth with a phone and a guy in his house floating away in like lava, and the phone rings and the guy tries to grab it, but then he falls into the lava and dies.
so brutal, man.
Yeah, this is
maybe it was Hawaii. You know, they like volcanoes there.
Could have been Hawaii. But that's not. Is that below the equator?
Oh,
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's below the.
We've got lots of islands. It could have been Mauritius or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of volcanic activity out there.
Oh, absolutely. So then Lisa, after Bart kills a man, Lisa comes in to tell Bart he can't just call places internationally because it is expensive. So he wasn't calling collect at this point?
No, I think he was just dialing. At that point, I think he was just dialing international numbers.
I mean, that's still expensive.
Yeah.
And so then Bart decides to call Australia collect. And so he makes the call. We get outside of the house. And I love the fact that a koala climbs up the electrical pole and shocks itself and then goes back for another like shock.
Now koalas are pretty crazy. Do they hang on your telephone poles out there?
Look, koalas are exceptionally lazy. They sleep for about 23 and a half hours a day. Well, they don't sleep. They're kind of stoned.
Man,
they
that's
are.
the life.
They are. The gum trees and the gum leaves that they eat give them a really relaxed feeling, I guess you'd say. Kind of like being stoned. So most of the time they spend their time just chilling out in a tree and sleeping and relaxing.
So
Nice.
so koalas would not do. The Simpsons got that wrong. Koalas wouldn't climb a pole to zap themselves on telephone lines.
That takes way too much effort, man.
All right. Now here's the other funny part about it. Typically phone lines or any electrical lines, in that matter, are wrapped in a grounded rubber. That's why birds can land on it and stuff like that. So animals typically shouldn't be getting shocked by touching them anyway.
No. And so now, the kid picks up the phone. Bart pretends to be the doctor of the International Drainage Commission. And Bart lies and says trains have been sucking in people. And he says this to get the Australian boy to check which way the water flows in the drains. So the boy sets down the phone, goes to a toilet. And did he come back and say it flowed clockwise?
He did, yeah.
And he did. And all the drains drain clockwise. So Bart is like, hey, can you check your neighbor's pipes? And so the kid goes out, hops in his bike, and bikes away because he's in the middle of... I'm assuming it's not like the outback, like maybe the outskirts of a town, Paul.
Well, look, I want to go back a little tiny bit here. That accent
Sure.
Okay.
that young kid had, that boy, was not Australian. Okay, so just so everyone knows, that was like some sort of South African, English, Australian mix, and it was horrendous. Anyone that watched the episode here in Australia at the time was like, that is the worst Aussie accent ever. That was controversial, I tell you, very controversial here at the time.
I can imagine.
I wonder. I don't have anything in my notes who did the voice for him. Probably should have looked that up.
Yeah. If I had to guess, it was probably one of the normal voice actors.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming so. But who typically does like?
Maybe Hank Azaria.
Hank Azaria would have been the only one that I could think of that typically does more
funny voices.
He definitely didn't hit the mark on this occasion.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, listening to you, Paul, speak, and then kind of remembering the episode, that it was not a great accent.
Oh, well, it made it entertaining. It got in the news here, and people got all upset, so it was good.
Nice.
Well, could the dialect have been because of where they lived in Australia?
Oh, no. I mean,
not really.
Australia does have accents. Like, if you go up to outback Queensland or something like that, there is a slightly different twang, I guess you'd call it, or, the accent's slightly different, but it's nothing like America. Like, you can go to New Orleans and you can hear that in New Orleans, and then you just go a couple of miles up the road to say Tennessee or something like that, and it's a totally different accent. You go to New York, it's totally different. LA, it's different. Well, LA's not so much, but we don't have that here. It's nowhere near the diversity of accents, but our population's minute compared to yours.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So this kid hops on his bike and off he goes. He's the only person in his neighborhood. Kind of like maybe, I don't know, like a farmhouse kind of deal.
Like the Midwest.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then Milhouse pops over to tell Bart that the bakery caught on fire and the downtown area smells like cookies. I'll come with to Milhouse. That sounds delicious. And so Bart leaves the phone on the table.
I love how he doesn't hang it up. Like, I feel like he would have hung up the phone. He just threw it on the table. It's like, all right.
Yep.
Good enough.
Just left it. Well, he is a kid, so maybe he's just like, ooh, cookies.
Yeah.
Just sets the phone down, doesn't even think about it.
Yep.
And so day is over. Bart gets up, late at night for a drink of milk, which he takes straight from the carton because it's Bart. And then we hear the Australian boy tell Bart that his neighbor's water drains clockwise too. And Bart tells him, oh, I don't care about that anymore. And then hangs up. So literally once the bakery was burning and you could smell cookies, that was that for Bart.
Hey, man.
It was like, okay, I'm done with the water.
Kids have short attention spans. What do you want?
They do.
And then we get our title card 3 weeks later. So that's obviously when Homer gets the phone bill and all the places that Bart calls. That we got Santiago, Chile, Antarctica Naval Research Station, New Well, I'm not even going to pronounce that. Ouagadougou? I don't know. Burkina Faso, which is actually in the northern hemisphere. So once again, Bart, not very smart. An unnamed settlement and a disputed zone where the guy jumps out the window.
So where did he call in Australia?
So he called Bruno Dundridge. Oh wait,
no, but
maybe
where?
That was the guy's name.
Yeah, but where did he call in Australia?
I don't know. Did they?
There's not a new Ouagadougou, is there, Paul?
Not to my knowledge.
I wonder.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there is an old Unudugu. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't know where they called in Australia. I don't know. They never. I don't think they ever said, or there was never a city mentioned.
No, it was.
Maybe it's the unnamed settlement.
No,
it was some outback country town. Just by the dirt roads and the isolation. And there's a lot of that out in Australia. A lot of not much.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess in reference to where Parliament is compared to where everyone was, it had to have been relatively close to that, I'm assuming.
Well, if it was our capital, it would have been in Canberra. But no, that's pretty small state or capital territory, I should say. It's not a state, it's a territory. And that's pretty small. There are some settlements out there, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
So, Ouagadougou is the capital of Burkina Faso.
Oh.
So that's what that is in the book. It's the capital with the
gotcha.
country.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Okay.
All right. So Homer's looking at the phone bill. He's like, Burkina Faso, disputed zone. Who called all these weird places? And Homer's brain is quiet. It might be you. I can't remember. No, I'm going to ask Marge. And Homer's brain's like, no. Why embarrass both of us? Just write a check, and I'll release some more endorphins. I like Homer writing the check, and just the smile on his face.
Because he got those endorphins.
Yep. And now we cut to Australia, where the Aussie Bruno Dundridge is finding out why his phone bill's so high. Like, $900 dues. Tobias, did you accept a 6-hour collect call from the States?
So what is the currency for Australia called? Is it just dollars?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Dollars.
Dollars. Okay.
$900 dues.
I haven't personally used dollary dues, but I might have to in the future.
You really should. I honestly have always wondered, because I mean, I love making Simpsons references. Like Paul, remember? I think I did that. Was it during the last NFT drop where I did that to someone in the in the group or something? I was like, you spent $900 dues. So I do like using Simpsons quotes in my everyday lexicon. So
yeah.
You should do that every once in a while, just to see how many Australians catch on.
Yeah, they'll tell me I'm an idiot.
Yeah. unless they're a fan of The Simpsons, then they'll be like, high five.
Yeah.
So then Tobias says it was an emergency from the International Drainage Commission, and Bruno asks if there was anything wrong with the bidet.
Whoa!
God, I wish I had a bidet.
Well, back up. We don't call it a bidet.
Oh, really?
No?
The old adage is a dunny.
Oh.
Dunny.
Dunny,
Okay.
which was an old toilet in your backyard sort of thing, with a hole in the ground and all that sort of stuff. We don't have them anymore, but that was, what we used to call the dunny.
Oh, interesting.
Because, see, when I hear the word bidet, I think of the thing in the toilet that sprays your butt and gets you clean instead of the toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's a very French/English type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's kind of, I guess that Australian had some French in him. He liked to have his butt really clean.
Yeah.
And so Bruno's like, you just got, sorry. So Bruno calls Bart, and I love how Bart screws up. He's like, is that Bart Simpson? Hold on a sec, let me get him. Hi, this is Bart Simpson.
He calls himself like Bert Sampson or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Office of Bart Simpson. Ah, finally. And then he's
please.
like, hold on.
And Bruno's like, you're just some punk kid, aren't you? Oh, you picked the wrong guy to tango with here, mate. And then Bartlett's like, I don't think so. You're all the way in Australia. Hey, I think I hear a dingo ate your baby.
So Paul, have you ever seen a dingo in like the wild?
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Are they mean creatures or?
Not. Oh, I mean, look, they can be, and they hunt in packs and all that sort of stuff. And that whole dingo ate my baby was a huge thing over here, actually internationally, and it went on for decades. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that was a pretty funny reference. I think a few people it was a bit hit a nerve in Australia, but I thought it was hilarious.
God, it's almost like this episode is like, what, pre-South Park, where everything was starting to hit people's nerves.
yeah, this is definitely pre-South Park.
But no, I feel like, was it like an urban legend? Like, obviously, like a lot of places have like urban legends. Was that kind of what started it?
No. There was some people camping at a place called Ayers Rock, which is a big-ass rock in the middle of Australia. Really exciting tourist thing to go and see. And basically they were camping and their little baby was in the tent. This is the story. And they say a dingo got into the tent and took their baby. Baby disappeared. Baby's gone. So that's where a dingo stole my baby came from.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really dark, isn't it?
Yeah. God, it almost sounds like an urban legend, but
yes, her name was Azaria Chamberlain. There you go. How's that from memory?
Oh wow.
Okay.
There we go. We always learn something new here on The Simpsons Did It. So Bruno says, I'm going to report this to Parliament. Then he goes outside to talk to Gus, who's in the pig pen, and tells him about it. And Gus says he's outraged. It's like, I'm going to take this all the way to the Prime Minister. And he's off floating in a lake on a tube drinking a Foster's beer.
Whoa. See,
And I've heard Australians hate Fosters.
oh, thank you. I was going to have to bring that up because that is probably the worse than the accent, worse than the dingo stole my baby. We do not drink that shit. It's like camel piss, and it's horrible. And we make it to export it so Americans drink it.
Yeah, but people drink PBR here, so we have our
Hey,
own, we have our own garbage.
You lay off PBR. If you're gonna make fun of beer, make fun of Bud Light.
We make shit beer here too, and people seem to like it. So.
I will say, so I think it was the first cruise I took. So we got a great deal on alcohol on the ship because a friend of mine worked for the cruise line. He worked for like the trucking part of it. So he got like a really good discount on the cruise. And so like we would basically drink beer for like 60% off, or any alcohol for that matter. So we'd always get like a bucket of beer or like in a can, and they had Foster's on the cruise ship, and it's a little bit bigger of a can. And I'm like, I'll drink Foster's. It's cheap. I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think I'd go out of my way to buy it at like a grocery store.
That's That's really funny because when I was in the US, we took a cruise out of LA and sort of went down to Mexico, and the same thing. They had Foster's there, and sitting there at the bar chatting to people, and they're drinking Foster's, and I said, "Why are you drinking that camel piss?" And they're like, "What?" But you're Aussie. This is your beer. I said, "This is not my beer, mate."
I will say, because we also drink, because one of my cruises we stopped in Jamaica and we got Red Stripe while we were there, and I don't know how Jamaicans feel about Red Stripe.
Yeah,
I wonder if they feel like you do, Paul, with Foster's.
Yeah, my first Foster's experience was we had they put an Australian like outback thing at our zoo here in Minnesota with kangaroos and wallabies and koalas and trees and stuff like that, and they've to support our Australian outback in Minnesota, they sold Foster's. So I was like, I want one of these big ass cans. Unfortunately, it wasn't big as Homer's, so I was kind of disappointed, but it was still a big ass can. So, but one other question I did have for you, Paul, does your prime minister usually just hang out in an inner tube floating in a lake?
Look, we change prime ministers like we change socks at the moment. So some of them do, some of them don't.
Is that why you change them so often? They're out floating in a lake, just drinking beer.
Some of them go for a swim and go missing altogether. One did. One of our prime ministers went for a swim at the beach and disappeared. They reckon
was it one of those Port Jackson sharks? It must have been one of those Port Jackson sharks.
They reckon it was a Russian submarine that came and got him or something. I don't know.
and your parliament, they live next door to you, right? They're just in random houses around you. So
yeah, I mean, one of my mates is a politician, so and a state politician, and yeah, so everyone knows a politician here.
Everyone knows a politician. I like it. And so I like how they get Bart starts getting envelopes from Australia saying, you owe us money, it's time to pay. And I love how one of the stamps on the envelope says 30 years of electricity on the Australian stamp. So I'm guessing you didn't get electricity for a while down under.
Yeah, I think that's crap.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's fun. It was funny. I did laugh at it. Yeah. Or the collection agency. I can't remember what it was. Something or other kangaroo.
Hopping Mad.
Hopping Mad Collection Agency.
Hopping Mad Collection Agency at Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, with a boxing kangaroo on the front. Very, very good. I like it.
But I like how Bart skims the letter and just throws it away. More time passes. Letters pile up in the garbage can. I like how Lisa sees Bart using her saxophone to start stuffing the garbage down so he can throw more mail in there.
See, that you were saying before the whole, you say the Simpsons things. I always say saxophone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, saxophone.
Yep. No, it's amazing how much. I mean, okay, Simpsons have been around now for 34 years. I mean, if you don't have something you say daily from The Simpsons, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so Bart realizes he's in trouble. I mean, obviously he made a horrible mistake. So Bart goes to talk to Marge and Homer, and he's like, "Hey guys, just so you don't hear any wild rumors, I'm being indicted for fraud in Australia."
Oh dear.
And so Homer, says that, well, that's no reason to block the TV. And, so Marge asks Bart if he tricked a 9-year-old boy into taking collect calls, and Bart, he confesses. He's like, yep, I did it. And I like how Homer goes and finds Bart's globe. He's like, Australia. And then, and then he spins to South America. Hey guys, look, there's a country. You are gay. And yes. I mean, if you're not a kid in elementary or middle school that doesn't make that joke,
oh God.
I feel like in today's society though, that's not happening.
No, God, no. It is, but then you're gonna get yelled at for making it.
Yeah, it's gonna be squashed pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so we get Evan Conover coming over to the Simpsons house to, explain Bart's situation. And I love how he was voiced by Phil Hartman. He does sound just like Lionel Hutz or Troy McClure. Yeah, it's nice. It's always nice watching these early episodes and hearing his voice. He's like, unfortunately, Bart, your little escapade could not have come at a worse time. Americano-Australian relations are at an all-time low. And as I'm sure you remember, in the late 1980s, the U.S. experienced a short-lived infatuation with Australian culture. For some bizarre reason, the Aussies thought of this would be a permanent thing. Of course, it wasn't.
Yeah, America had a bit of an infatuation with everything Australia.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hey, we had a one-armed kangaroo at our zoo in our town growing up. So,
did we?
Yeah, you didn't know that? We had 2 kangaroos. One of them didn't. It only had 1 arm.
No, I do not remember this.
I think he just lost it in a boxing accident.
They call him Lefty.
So then we get a slide carousel. So Evan sets up a slideshow for the Simpsons to explain what went wrong, and we get slide carousel number 8402, Australia, hurt feelings of slide. So the slides that we see, we get Crocodile Dundee, Koala Blue, which I believe was a store.
Yeah, they sold clothes and that sort of stuff.
Okay. Jacko Jackson, who boxer?
Yeah.
Weightlifter?
Boxer, okay. I believe.
Okay. And then a picture of a Subway with an ad out front that says, ad for a foot-long Vegemite sub.
Wow. Now, this is a subject I do need. Have either of you guys tried Vegemite?
No, but
Never.
did one of you or Dean or someone send Chris and Heather Vegemite?
I think Dean did, yeah. But, I mean, what so many Americans get wrong, they put it on like Nutella. So they put it on really thick. That's not how you have Vegemite. That's why it kills you. You've got to put it on a thin layer of Vegemite, and it's quite tasty.
Oh. And I'm guessing put it on sandwiches.
Yeah. Oh, you can cook with it. You can do lots of things with it. But, yeah, normally just a toasted cheese sandwich or bread in the morning.
Oh.
Okay. And I'm assuming there's different companies that make Vegemite.
Well, Vegemite's a brand name.
Okay.
And then there's Aussie Mite, which is another one. But yeah, Vegemite's made by, I think it's Kraft. Excuse me.
Oh.
So
is that
how's this?
Available in the States?
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
I might have to
go check that out.
I might have to see if we can find Vegemite somewhere.
I'll send some over.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you. And then the last slide we see is the Yahoo Serious Festival. And Lisa's like, what do those words even mean?
Oh, it was so good.
Paul, can you explain? Is that a real thing, the Yahoo Serious Festival?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know if... Okay.
Yahoo Serious was like a comedian, but yeah, I don't recall any Yahoo Serious Festival.
Okay. Oh my god, that was great. And then Evan clicks to another slide, which I don't think anybody was meant to see. It was the Plan B depicting Fidel Castro in crosshairs, and that's what they see. And then Evan Conover takes the slide out and promptly eats it.
Yep.
And this is a reference to a conspiracy theory that the U.S. government, after the failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion, attempted to have Fidel Castro assassinated. So I got a couple of conspiracy theories in this episode. I like it.
Yeah.
I dig it. And so, Homer agrees with Evan that Bart, he'll agitate people. And Homer's like, well, what can we do for you? Conover's like, well, it's too late to merely pay back the money. But as a sign of good faith to our Australian friends, we'd like to imprison Bart for 5 years. Homer's like, that's tough, but fair. Boy, go with the man.
No love from Homer.
Paul, you probably don't know what the even the minimum is for committing fraud in Australia?
No.
Off the top of your head?
No idea whatsoever. Hang on, let me check my legal book here. No.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure here in the States, I think it's like at least up to a year. I guess it depends on a judge's judgment. Because we had a college scandal in which, that was more bribery than fraud.
Oh yeah, that's where the chick from Full House got done, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So she got like 6 months or something. So I recommend to people not to commit fraud. Although if you do, you're probably not going to serve too much time unless it's egregious.
Yep.
Or if you're rich. And so Marge refuses to let Bart go to prison because she's his mom. No, she's his mom. She doesn't want him to go to prison. And Conover says the other option is Bart give a public apology to the entire nation of Australia.
Boy, Bart pissed off all of Australia, apparently.
Somehow. Not yet, anyways. So Homer says all Bart has to do is apologize, and they get a free trip to Australia. And Conover's like, yeah. And Bart's like, I'm good with at fake apologies. And Marge yells at Bart, no, you have to give a real apology. And Bart's like, I'm sorry, Mom. And Marge's like, that's better. And then Bart starts chuckling.
Yeah.
How
many of our kids have done that?
Apologized fakely?
Yeah.
Apart from every
I've
second
probably
day.
done it a lot.
every second day, I reckon my kids do.
Yeah. my kid's slightly, he's only 4, so he's slightly a little bit too young to fake an apology. Maybe. I'm not sure. He'll kick me in the head accidentally or on purpose. Who knows? I'll be like, I'm sorry. Sure you are. Yeah, sure.
And so they take the trip to Australia and they fly Trans-Hemispheric Airlines. Fantastic joke. Fantastic. And then as the plane takes off, we get a camera pan down through the Earth's inner crust and whatnot. And so in the pan down shot through Earth, you see a coffin. And you see a guy kind of crawling away from the coffin, but it's a skeleton. So somebody was buried alive and actually got out of the coffin, but they're underground, so they still died. We get dinosaurs buried in coffins.
Yeah, I mean they were right. Dinosaurs had funerals.
Sure. And then you had is it Vishnu? Is that the Buddhist god with 6 arms?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Because I tried to remember it from The Simpsons with Apu.
Yeah.
So I believe it's Vishnu. If that's not correct and anybody who's seen this episode would like to correct us, please feel free to. And he's just at the center of the earth pushing buttons, pulling levers, and he gets tired and then he goes back to it, which I thought that was funny. And I don't get this next reference, but a Skylab rocket ship is buried in the ground.
I don't remember Skylab. That might be before my time.
Yeah, Paul.
Is that from
does that ring any bells?
Skylab Terminator?
Oh,
That's Skynet.
Skynet.
Damn it, I was close.
You were. So yeah, if anybody wants to give us a reference of the Skylab thing, you can reach to us, email, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. And so then we see the Simpsons land in Australia.
But they're upside down.
They are upside down. I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was good.
And then they get off and they look really tired. Now, obviously, this is not a direct flight to Australia. There can't be any direct flights to Australia, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can fly direct from
Okay.
Melbourne to LA, and it takes about 16 and a half hours.
Okay.
You can go Melbourne or Sydney to where else? LA, San Diego, San Francisco. So there's a few options.
Yeah, but I guess that's all West Coast, though. I'm guessing there's not a direct flight from Australia to New York.
I think the longest one is Sydney to what's it bloody called? Middle of Texas.
Really?
Major
like Dallas.
Dallas,
Like the
thank
Dallas
you.
hub?
Yeah, Dallas hub.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well, here's the problem. We don't know where the Simpsons live.
Yeah.
So they could have flown out of California and just taken that full flight there.
Yep.
So, and I love how Homer's like, okay, we left at 1:35 p.m. on Monday. And he's like, what time is it now? And according to Lisa, it is 6:45 a.m. the next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure her math is very off.
Oh, that's good. I love it.
Because what's the time difference between Wisconsin and Australia? It's
Well, it's
is that,
11:30
like,
there now.
It's 12:30 here now.
Or
30 now.
12:30.
Yep.
And so 15 hours ahead.
Yep.
Yep.
Plus a minimum of 16 and a half hour flight. So, yeah.
Lisa's probably all like, her brain is scrambled from that 16-hour flight.
Well, man,
she probably added the 16 to the
look,
31 and got...
Look, we don't know how many layovers they had. They could have stopped in, like, Japan or China or somewhere else.
Lisa, we see Homer with a sled, and Lisa tells Homer that it's summer and not winter in Australia right now, and Homer is sad because he's brought his sled. He wanted to go sledding. So it must be winter in America because, right? It's winter right now by you, Paul, because we're in summer.
Yeah, but our winners aren't like your winners. Ours
Lucky.
Well, I did hear though, I heard isn't there good snowboarding somewhere in Australia though?
Yeah, there's a few good mountains where you can go up to the snow and that sort of stuff, but most of the country doesn't get snow. It just doesn't happen.
Oh, okay.
Up in the hills.
What's like the coldest it usually gets in your winters? Like 50 degrees? Not even that low?
We get 0, so 2 or 3 degrees is about where it goes. 0 to 2 to 3 degrees in
fair Celsius.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to remember, we're in America. Luckily, I caught that. So, all right. So, yeah, that's still pretty cold. I mean, that's roughly like 30 to 40 degrees here in America. So,
yeah, you freeze your balls off, but that's all right.
Yeah. But no snow, huh?
No, only if you go up to like Mount Buller or something like that, Mount Buff, those sort of places during winter. Then you get a bit of snow. Some real good snowfields. If you want to ski though, you're better off going over to New Zealand. They have some crazy snowfields.
Yeah, I heard New Zealand's amazing for that.
Interesting. Okay. So then we get an advisory board. It says foreign flora and fauna are prohibited. And that means no outside plants or animals because, it could screw with ecosystems. And so, Lisa tells Bart, you're not allowed to have any foreign animals. And Bart releases a frog in the airport and it escapes into Australia where we see it get picked up by a kangaroo. Now, in Australia, if I remember correctly, you guys have many different types of frogs.
We do. But the funny thing about that is, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp should have actually listened to that 20 years prior because when they come over here, they bought their 2 little poodle dog things, Pistol and Boo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they actually had to apologise to the Australian public on TV for bringing their pets into Australia without, doing all the proper procedures. So, and they didn't get the boot, unfortunately, but They Google it. It
Yeah.
was 2015 or 16 or something like that. But it is
wow.
hilarious.
That's all. No, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, if you go to a foreign country and you bring stuff, yeah, you gotta declare it. But I like how Bart puts the frog in the fountain. It's like, I'll be back for you on our way back.
And then it's like, and gone. Now, granted, it's an American bullfrog, so it could potentially wreak some havoc in Australia, because obviously it's probably a little bit different than other frogs in Australia.
Well,
so
the funny thing is that in the early 1930s, I think it was, or mid 1930s, our cane industry actually bought over American cane toads. To what was it for? It was I think the cane beetles. They brought them over to eat the cane beetles because it was devastating our crops. So that was let's say 35, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And those little bastards have spread all over the country.
Oh, jeez.
So the episode is actually quite true. The Americans, we bought the American cane toad over, or what do you guys call it? Bullfrog or something? Yeah.
Yep.
Bullfrog. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And so now we go to the U.S. Embassy, where the restrooms are for citizens only. So American citizens?
Well, yeah. Only American citizens are allowed in the American embassy.
And so I love this scene. Homer antagonizes a guard, and now mind you, he looks like an American, but Homer thinks it's a British guard, which you can, and I don't remember if it's true or not, where you can mess with them to a point where they're not allowed to do anything to you.
As long as you don't touch them. As soon as you touch them,
okay.
Whew.
Yep.
And so Homer antagonizes this British guard that's not a British guard, who's an American Marine, and the guy punches Homer in the face.
Yeah. We don't tolerate that sort of thing in America.
Whack.
Yep.
Oh my God, that was great. And so now we see Homer and Bart enjoying the amenities, and and Homer's like, "Hey boy, for our next vacation, can you commit fraud in Orlando?" And Bart's like, "Already there." Yeah, I don't think that's not how it works, Homer. That's not how it works.
That's how he thinks it works. They got a free trip to Australia, man.
Yeah. And so Bart asks the embassy people if the water flows clockwise, and we find out that they made a device to make the water drain counterclockwise because so many Americans get homesick that they built this device, and then they show the machine off, and Homer starts to cry while singing "My Country 'Tis of Thee." God.
Brilliant scene.
Homer loves his country. I like it. Yeah. So the Simpsons, walk out of the embassy, where there's a sign that says "Now entering Australia, observe local laws."
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have diplomatic immunity.
No.
And
because they're not diplomats.
Exactly. And Bart points out that the guard tells Bart that the embassy is considered American soil. It's like, oh, dude, we're already in Australia. But obviously they're not. The embassy is considered U.S. soil. And
correct.
I like this better than the guard punching. Well, the guard still punches Homer, but I like this part better where Homer's like, I'm in America. I'm in Australia. I'm in America. I'm in Australia. I'm in America. I'm in Australia. Punch.
It reminds me of the Robin Hood Men in Tights movie where Dave Chappelle is like, why are we fighting here? I'm on the West Bank. I'm on the East Bank.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yep. So then we go to the cultural center. Cart your arson in. And so the first prime minister, I like how the first prime minister statue there resembles Snake from.
That's fantastic.
Well,
that's because Australia was founded by criminals.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Well, they were brought over here from Pommy Land, from the English. Yep.
And so now we get Lisa, Bart, and Maggie at a pub. I like it. So Bart pulls out a pocket knife, and Australia comes up and is like, that's not a knife. This is a knife. No, it's not. It's a spoon. Oh, I've seen you play knifey spoony before.
I love that scene so much.
That's great.
Oh, God.
But did you see?
Obviously,
Did you?
Oh, go ahead, Paul.
Did you see behind him there was actually a big like Crocodile Dundee knife
Yes.
in that scene?
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
So they were playing knifey spoony, but there was that big Crocodile Dundee knife behind him.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is a knife is a reference to Crocodile Dundee.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
great. I love it.
Yeah, that was good. I like it.
Yep.
And so Marge is at the bar. Homer and Marge are at the bar, and Homer asks,
Yep.
"Can I get one of those giant beers I hear so much about?" And he drops a really giant can of Foster's. Homer kind of looks disappointed. He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah, because it's Foster's.
it's
Exactly.
big. I thought it'd be bigger."
Oh yeah.
Well, we actually have what's called a Darwin stubby. So Darwin is up in the north of Australia, and do you know what a stubby is?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so a stubby is a beer bottle.
Okay.
So a Darwin stubby is, a beer bottle, a really big beer bottle. I think it's about 2.25 liters. So what's that? About 75 ounces or something like that.
Jeez.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you guys
Holy
almost drink
smokes.
like the Germans in their giant
Yeah.
steins.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then Marge is like, "I'll take a cup of coffee." Beer it is. No, I said coffee. Beer? Coffee. Bay? Ear? C-O? Bay? A? Do they not believe in coffee at bars?
Or water.
Or water? Yes.
Oh god.
I almost want to go to Australia now just to try to order a coffee.
Oh, look, there's plenty of yuppie places you can go to now, but yeah, not back in 95.
No, it was
Okay.
bars were bars. Like
Exactly.
that's-
Yes.
Exactly.
You couldn't even
I don't
get
think-
you couldn't even get an Irish coffee
No.
as long as there was some sort of alcohol in it.
Look, it's not a bad argument, but no, it's still coffee.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair
Well,
enough.
to be fair, a lot of bars, at least here in Wisconsin, they don't serve you coffee.
No, not bars.
Yeah.
Restaurants with bars will, but not.
That's a
not-
restaurant.
Yeah, not bars.
Yeah, bars, at least here in Wisconsin, will not give you coffee.
You guys sound like
They'll probably laugh at you if you ask for some.
you guys sound like sheep going bar bar.
Yeah. So now we get the Parliament House der Australia.
So the way it's printed in the screen is it's Parliament House der Austria, but then somebody like added the AL to it to say Australia. And I read somewhere that the front of the Parliament for Australia just says Parliament on it.
Yeah, just keep it simple.
I don't know.
Keep it simple. Yeah, we have a bar outside that just says bar.
It works. It tells you what it is. I can't see a problem with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Lisa and Marge obviously don't want to stay for Bart's apology because Lisa would rather go to a dirt monument.
Of course she would.
Now that's not that thing you said that's a really popular tourist attraction, is it?
Ayers Rock, no, I doubt they're in the middle of Australia. And it's the world's biggest rock, mind you, so it's quite exciting.
Is that like the biggest ball of twine?
Oh, we've got the biggest everything, the biggest prawn, the biggest banana, the biggest sheep, oh mate, it's crazy.
Well, don't get into any arguments with the Texans then.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't they have the biggest ball of twine or something like that? I don't know.
No, that's I believe Iowa.
Yeah, I think Iowa, or is it in Minnesota? No,
The
Minnesota.
biggest ball of twine is not the biggest ball of twine.
No.
that I know. I think it's Iowa or Nebraska. It's one of those two.
Yeah. And so Bart, goes in. He's like, he gives his apology, and he's free to go right after his additional punishment. Because Australia tricked him. They thought he could just go for an apology, but yeah.
Well, that's also the U.S. diplomats kind of screwed Bart over too.
Yes. Oh yeah, the U.S.
Because they didn't tell Bart and Homer that this was additionally going to happen.
Unless Evan Conover didn't think it was going to happen, but maybe he did. I'm not sure.
No, I think he did, because we'll see later on.
Yeah, but he's going to get a booting, which is a form of Australian corporal punishment administered by an angry-looking man wearing a huge boot. According to Andy, Australia's Prime Minister, it's just a little kick in the bum.
I'm assuming that's actually not a real punishment in Australia. It'd be great if it was.
Oh, look, only from your dad, but that's about it.
Yeah.
What kind of sick country would kick someone with a giant boot?
And the funny thing about this, in Burns' Air, Bart gets kicked in the bum with a boot, and Homer laughs.
Yes, he does. So, well, it wasn't a giant boot, though. That was just a loafer.
Was it a loafer?
It was. Just a little loafer.
Oh.
But, yes,
Okay.
Homer still did laugh at Bart getting kicked in the butt.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Conover tells Homer to be quiet because questioning the booting is a bootable offense. And I like how on the wall of the Parliament, there's the Australian flag with a boot kicking an ass on it.
Yeah, that's nothing like our flag, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Just a big bare ass staring out, and a boot going to, kick it. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Homer was like, "You sold us out, Conover."
See? I told you sold him out.
Yep. And so, they obviously don't want the booting to happen. So Homer, struggles with the guy and gets the boot off his foot and threatens to boot the Prime Minister. And he's like, "When will you Australians learn? In America, we stopped using corporal punishment, and things have never been better. The streets are safe. Old people strut confidently through the darkest alleys, and the weak and the nerdy are admired for their computer programming abilities. So like us, let your children run wild and free, because, as the old saying goes, let your children run wild and free."
America still has corporal punishment even to this day.
Yeah, and our streets are definitely very bad.
Very bad.
I guess depends on where you go. Downtown Minnesota, Minneapolis has gotten bad. Chicago's always bad. I'm sure New York is still pretty bad. But you go to middle of nowhere, Indiana, and I'm sure it's pretty friendly.
Yeah, it's because nobody lives there.
Exactly. And then Homer tells Bart to run back to the embassy, and I like how he uses the boot to break open the window.
That's fantastic. So, Paul, I'm assuming the crime rate in Australia is, it's probably in a typical spot, but probably lower than here in America.
Oh, absolutely. There's crime everywhere. So, what do you do? We don't incarcerate as many people as you guys do, but I think you guys hold the world record for that anyway.
Yeah,
that is absolutely true and very sad.
See, we got the largest population in our prison system.
Yeah, well, the largest percentage of your population, I believe, like 1 or 2% or something crazy like that.
Yeah. It's bad. So, anyways, the Australian Parliament chases after Homer and Bart. And Homer and Bart try to get away in kangaroo pouches, but they can't because there's mucus inside of them, which I believe is
that's
true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's to keep their joeys nice and warm on the inside. But if you want to ride a kangaroo, our kids do that to go to school. Well, they used to. It's sort of outlawed now, but yeah, you used to jump on the back of the kangaroo to go to school.
That's awesome. Now, come on. As a kid, you probably wanted to see what it was like inside a pouch.
Oh, of course. But if kangaroos kick you, they really hurt.
Yes.
They balance back on their tail, and they use those big paws, and they can kick like a mother.
It's almost like spooking our horses around here. You spook a horse, you're getting kicked.
Oh yeah, if you're behind them, don't you want to be playing that game?
Yep.
No. And so, as Australian Parliament chases after Homer and Bart, guard one, I'll stop them. And he pulls out a boomerang and throws it at Bart. It barely clips Bart's hair, then starts to spin back toward the Australians. Parliament member, oh no, it's coming back this way. Guard two to guard one, that throw and stick stunt of yours has boomeranged on us. Oh, that's great. I love it.
I know those used to be weapons. I'm assuming they're not really weapons anymore.
They're traditional weapons for the Aboriginals, so the
Yeah.
first people of our nation. And yeah, look, I've got boomerangs at home, and I don't walk around with them and throw them at people, but yeah, sure. Been brought up with
See,
boomerangs.
Yeah, I mean, we have Nerf boomerangs because
Yes.
when they come back at you, you don't want to be smacked.
Oh,
but-
you
Yeah.
definitely don't want to be smacked with a wooden boomerang, I tell you right now.
yeah.
Oh, God. So now we stop at the South O' the Equator gift shop, which is a pun on the south of the border gift shop.
Yep.
And there's a sign out front that says, Pedro says, Itai koala tea. Oh, that's terrible. Terrible. And so Lisa wants a didgeridoo. And Marge suggests that Lisa should get a baseball cap instead that says, Pobody's Nerfict in Australia. Paul, do you also own a didgeridoo?
I do not, and Lisa did exceptionally well because they are not easy to play. I have tried before, but not easy. But I think it's her saxophone skills that came into play.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I just assumed the didgeridoo was kind of like our recorder. Kids start learning it in like the 4th grade, and
No, I learnt the recorder in 4th grade.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
not the okay. All right, I was just wondering. Just we get the recorder, you guys get the didgeridoo.
As we see, the shopkeeper shoos out frogs, and the Australian squeaky teen kid is like, "Oh, I would call them chazwazers."
Chazzywazzers.
That's not a real word, is it?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So Bart and Homer run past the gift shop, yelling for Lisa and Marge, who then join them in running back to the embassy.
But I was like, Marge.
Bart's like,
Lisa.
that's great. Isn't that kind of a callback to like the old cartoons a little bit?
Like the Looney Tunes stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the embassy sees the Simpsons running towards them, and they don't want them back in, obviously. And so they hit the button that says "Gate Control," made with pride in the U.S. of A. And because it was made in the U.S. of A., as the joke goes, the gate breaks down halfway.
See, Paul, they didn't just make fun of Australia in this episode.
I thought that was funny.
Just mainly Australia.
I love that. I love that gate not working. It was great.
And Marge, Marge can't believe the U.S. government would set Bart up like that, and she is very upset. And so now they're in the embassy, and Evan Conover and another diplomat are talking to somebody from Australian Parliament. And so Marge grabs the phone from Conover, who is arguing with someone about caramel and candy apples.
Yeah.
As like their snack of choice. I would prefer caramel apples.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever had a candied apple.
I don't know. Is it just like caramel with candy on it?
No, it's like a sugar coating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Marge on the phone is like, Bart is her son, and she will punish him herself. And Marge gives this big grand speech and then hands the phone back to Conover, who's like, yeah, I agree. We're not going to let Marge near the phone again.
That was the best line in the whole episode. I absolutely love that.
That's great. Because you're like, oh, okay. You're thinking, okay,
He
maybe
wants
they're
to
gonna
talk to you.
Oh, God. So now we see the Simpsons in their room waiting, and the ambassador comes in, and he's like, we did it. We've worked out a compromise that will allow both nations to save face. Conover's like, we've argued them down to booting. And the Simpsons are like, what? And the ambassador's like, the prime minister just wants to kick you once. Through the gate with a regular shoe. Conover's like, I believe it's a wingtip.
So it'll hurt. So it'll hurt a little bit.
A little bit, but not as... I feel like... Because, like, the whole point of the angry dude wearing the boot is that his legs are super skinny.
Yeah.
So I feel like a grown prime minister with regular sized legs is probably going to make the booting hurt worse with a wingtip shoe.
Yeah, maybe.
And so Marge says she doesn't want Bart to get booted. And Bart stops her and looks at the Marine, and then at the American flag, and then at the toilet machine that makes the water flow counterclockwise. He sheds a tear, and he's like, "It's time for me to bend over and receive my destiny."
Yeah.
And so Bart goes to the gate for his punishment, and Lisa promises not to make fun of him for this, because he's like, it's kind of like, "Oh, you're taking one for America."
Yep.
And so the Prime Minister goes to kick Bart. And before he can kick Bart in the butt, Bart backs away at the last second and moons the crowd, where he has written on both butt cheeks, very impressive, "Don't tread on me." And then he starts to hum the national anthem as he waves his butt at the Australian crowd.
Yeah.
Did Lisa say,
so-
I'm really impressed that you could ride on your butt like that or something?
Right, so
Yes.
legibly on your own butt.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, this is not the first time that Bart or Homer has written on their own ass, so it must be a male Simpson trait that they're really good at writing on their own ass.
It's very impressive.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it that legibly.
No.
I should have
Yeah,
tried
so-
before this so that we could test the theory out.
Yeah, we should do it. Post it on Instagram.
Oh, God.
And so Homer, so the Australians break down the gate, and obviously that's illegal. Like, the Australians are not allowed to enter. That's like,
Nope.
Isn't that like a declaration of war or something? If they break down the gate and start tramping on the U.S. Embassy,
Yeah,
I feel like that's,
invading foreign soil, because technically it's foreign soil. So, yeah, you
exactly. And you had like the Prime Minister. You had everyone there. That's definitely definitely illegal.
Oh, we don't muck
Yes.
around, mate. We'll all get in there.
Yeah. and so the Australians are upset. Everyone gets up. They get into the helicopter. Australians are upset, and they start hucking Foster's beer at the helicopter.
Only thing it's
because-
good for.
Yes, they're like, finally, they're using it for what it was meant to be used for.
Yeah.
And but yeah, Homer's like, "Hey, do we get to land on an aircraft carrier?" And the pilot's like, "No, sir. The closest vessel is the USS Walter Mondale. It's a laundry ship. They'll take you the rest of the way."
Of course. Well, that's because America hates the Simpsons.
Yep.
I really
And
like.
so-
I really liked how the two Marines were folding the flag and then ate it.
Yes. They're closing up shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we see from the helicopter that Australia is now overrun with bullfrogs, and they're eating all the crops. and the Simpsons start laughing at them because, hey, you try kicking my son's ass, your country is getting overrun by frogs, and all your crops are going away. But maybe that had to do with the whole bullfrog or the frog thing in
The
Australia.
30s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Someone at the Simpsons did their research. Let's just say that.
A little bit.
A little bit, yes. And I like how Lisa points out that is what happens when you introduce a foreign species into an ecosystem that can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pan down on the helicopter. We see a koala hanging on for dear life on the helicopter.
I love how it like zooms into the eyeball, like this ominous thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can I just say,
but-
gentlemen, I'm very impressed. You said koala quite a few times, and you haven't said koala bear, because they're not a
Oh.
bear. And you
Oh.
guys have got it right every single time. I'm impressed.
Sweet.
Yeah, I wonder if I've ever heard that. Although I guess I've seen koalas at zoos, so
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's where I get it. But no, I get where you're definitely coming from because the koala's a marsupial, not a bear.
Spot on.
Yeah. How did that start where people started calling them koala bears?
I guess they're fuzzy and I don't know.
They kind
They look like a
kinda
small
look
bear.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they're not.
they are not.
We have drop bears, but we don't have koala bears.
God, that went out of hand at Gasselcast. that got out of hand fast.
Ah, good fun.
And so if you guys don't know what we're talking about, check out the Gasselcast. They're friends of ours. They have a YouTube video and everything. And they were on a recent Simpsons Did It podcast. Check them out. Treehouse of Horror episode number 5.
Yep.
And so, yes, koalas in America, I don't know if they'd survive. We don't have the foliage that they climb on.
Yeah, you don't have
I don't know if
gum trees. They just couldn't get stoned and sleep all day.
Yeah.
But there's plenty there's plenty of drugs in the US, so they'd be all right. They'd find something.
Yeah, they just hang out in the fields of Colorado. They'd be fine.
Yeah, they'd just pimp out their friends
Yeah.
and everything, you know.
Yep. And I do like the fact that we've been getting this a little bit more often than not, but the Simpsons credits had the Simpsons theme song with the didgeridoo playing in the credits.
That's pretty dope. It was probably like a synthesized didgeridoo.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how many professional didgeridoo players we have in the States.
They probably got one of those pianos where you can synthesize a didgeridoo.
Yeah. That'd be my guess.
So for our final thoughts, Paul, what we like to do is rate the episodes on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being the lowest, obviously, 5 being the highest. 1 is dough. 2 is eat my shorts. 3 is don't have a cow man. 4 is sprinkles. And 5 is everything coming up Millhouse. So since you're our guest, why don't you rate the episode and give us your final thoughts on it?
Look, I'm going to have to go sprinkles. For only one reason. That bloody accent of that kid. If it wasn't, we'd be all Millhouse, mate. All Millhouse.
Nice. I like it. That's a good. I'll respect it.
I respect it. I do. I'm sorry. I gotta go 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse. It's a fantastic episode. Everything is so great. I vaguely remember as like a kid of Bart's age wondering, like, because I think because of this episode, wondering if drains in the southern hemisphere really, spun the opposite way. And so, and you got all these other funny little things in here, and $900 dollar dues.
Oh, I don't know if we mentioned this, but the $900 that Bart owed was the exact same amount the Springfield Gas Company bills the Simpsons after one of Bart's stunts detaches the family dryer and ignites the gas main in Homer's Phobia.
Wonder if there's any.
So they like
wonder if there's any other references to the $900.
We haven't come up with it yet, but we have a giant book that tells us that.
Yes. But yeah, it's a great episode. The jokes are there. Sorry, making fun of Australia. It's kind of funny, even though, they're probably better than us anyways here in America in certain aspects. It's an all around fantastic episode.
Yep. I'm going 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse just because of the Marge and the bartender. I mean, that just, I swear to God, every time I had someone, like I don't know, at like a Starbucks or something, like someone wants a coffee, I'm like, beer? Like, it's just a trigger for me. Like I have to do it. But once again, like, you guys have heard throughout a lot of episode, when it's a solid one storyline episode in these seasons, like 5 through 10, when it's just a single storyline and you're not bouncing back and forth, these episodes were just written so well. They were produced really well, directed really well. I just love everything about it. Like the jokes are really funny. I'm glad that we learned that, our toilets spin the same direction here and there. It's kind of sad to learn otherwise, but yeah, I absolutely love it. Everything's coming up Millhouse. So, lastly, what we'll do is our character profile. And this week for this episode, we are profiling the, really horrible diplomat for the American side, Evan Conover. His occupation is the Undersecretary of State for the International Protocol Brat and Punk Division. Because of all those brats and punks that we have in the States calling other countries or harassing other countries. I would love to see another episode where Bart and Lisa do something to another country. I would. I think it would be absolutely hilarious, and I don't think we've had one of those episodes yet since this episode.
They need to come back to Australia.
Yes, that would be
Yes.
great. That would be great.
Like 30 years on or whatever, that'd be pretty funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another 30. They have to get a stamp on there. Another 30 years of electricity.
We have 60 years of electricity.
His expertise: Australian correctional history and footwear. His strengths: introductions. Really good at introductions.
Yeah.
Selling out fellow Americans to angered foreign interests.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
Incompetent at editing slideshows and diplomacy.
Very much so.
Yep. His secret shame: Cuba Plan B. And his favorite munchies: candied apples.
All right.
So one more thing we do before we close out the episode, and we're only doing this because the last time we did this was with Chris and Heather, and Paul, you're huge into Funko Pops, just like me and Robert are. So one question we actually asked Chris and Heather is based on this episode solely. Well, first off, question for you: how many Simpsons Pops do you actually have?
You're going to be disappointed. A big fat zero.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Steve, we'll try to have to send him a Millhouse Pop.
Yeah. Oh, do I have an extra? I don't know
I
if I
thought
have
we
an
did.
extra. I think we might. I'll see if I have an extra, Paul. We'll get you at least one.
Okay.
So a second question, I guess. Maybe this will be a better question for you. So, based solely on this episode alone, what Simpsons Pop would you like to see come out of this episode?
Oh, the Prime Minister having a beer on the floaty thing.
Ooh.
Just laying
that's
back,
what I was gonna say.
laying back with a beer.
I was gonna say the boot guy.
That's a good one, but I think I could beat both of you on it. I would like a moment pop of Homer kneeling next to the toilet, crying.
I got a better moment pop. The Prime Minister about to kick Bart in the butt, and his pants down with "Don't tread on me" on his butt.
Yes.
I would love. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Funko, make it happen.
Make it happen, Funko. We need that moment.
That would be a great Funko Pop.
Oh, that'd be great. All right. So let's close it out where we could find everyone. Paul, as our guest, why don't you go first? Let everyone know where they can find you and watch your videos and find you online.
Yeah, well, I'm Aussie Popin Paul on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. Do a lot of soda openings every Saturday, so Soda Saturdays, and we also do a lot of box openings and that sort of stuff on Wednesdays. So flip it around, so Fridays and Tuesdays for you. And yeah, I just do it with the kids and other people, and just have a whole lot of fun doing it.
Awesome. Well, you guys can find us on Instagram, The Simpsons Did It Pod. You can head over to YouTube and find our channel, The Simpsons Did It Podcast, where you can listen to all of our older episodes on there. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We always get back to you. You can shoot us an email if you want to reach out to us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. I love everyone's emails. They've been fantastic so far. The Simpsons Did It Pod at gmail.com. And if you'd like to give us a phone call to give us a tidbit or what you like, don't like, give us a call, 612-584-0986, and make sure to listen to our amazing voicemail message by Jaden LeBron, who did a fantastic Krusty the Clown impression for our voicemail. It's amazing. Go and listen to it. And then leave us a voicemail after the fact. One more thing. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/The Simpsons Did It and buy us a duff or two. All your donations go towards the podcast and getting you awesome swag. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
And I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.